1, 2, and we're good. You can say the magic words. Excellent work. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot where all the buttons were. I'm sorry, guys.
Technical difficulties, but
I'm so sorry. I just realized I unmuted the wrong thing, so you were muted for a bit.
Was I muted the whole time?
Just a bit. I'm so sorry.
This is starting off great. Not only were we late, I was muted. So you just watch me go, blah, 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 blah,
Let's do this again.
Let's do this again. So, well, hello there.
There we go.
We're back. Hopefully you can hear me now.
You can.
If not, blame Katie. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I truly forgot where all the buttons were. I had to like push about 1,000 things to remember. It's like, wait, where are all the live buttons gone?
And so we're back. We're doing live stream because Lily is way too busy to edit. That's me. I'm talking about myself in third person.
Mm-hmm.
I am very tired right now as well. So, you know, yay. Anyway, Katie's going to introduce the podcast that you're watching currently.
And try and suppress the burp that's been trying to come up. Okay. We're good. Oh, no, we're fine.
All right.
So, this is what you get when you get live content, everybody. Hi, everyone. Welcome to all the films we judged before. Woohoo! I am Katie. That's Lily K. I forgot if I had extra bits in there, but it's just going so well.
It's fine. It's okay. It's late. We're tired. It works. It works. All right. Before we get into today's topic, which we're going to do very soon, I will have to ask, like, what have you been watching lately other than the obvious?
Oh my god. Do you know what? I've watched a bunch of stuff. Let me get my...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's the
Tell me
last time
about
that you properly, like, asked. I mean, like, you know about a bunch of them, to be fair, but, you know,
Okay.
for content reasons. I went and saw... Let me go through my I've got my Instagram up because I take pictures of all my cinema tickets. I went and saw The Shining.
Yes, you did.
I did. I saw The Shining. And then I saw The Truman Show, which I did
Yes.
mention last time. Saw The Marvels, which we talked about. Went and saw Trainspotting again.
Oh, nice.
Which is the first time I saw it in the cinema, to be fair, and it still rules. And I did close my eyes throughout the entirety of that toilet section because I can't watch it.
Blech.
It's
Understandable.
so disgusting.
Right.
And then the most recent one, which is a really interesting one, is that I went and saw Saltburn.
Oh, yes, you did.
I did. I saw Saltburn, which I thought was really good, but I also I have other feelings about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre. It's a spectacularly well-made movie. Everybody in it is brilliant. Jacob Elordi, is that? I think that's how you say his name.
Yes.
Jacob,
yeah.
Is fantastic in it and has like truly the most spot on like proper moneyed English accent, considering you know he's like Australian, and but the Australians are always really good at accents, is the thing.
That's true.
But like it is spot on.
Okay.
With it, he's fantastic. It is obviously Rosamund Pike and Richard E. Grant and Barry Keoghan and oh, I don't know the name of the girl. She says about as southern as she can get. I don't know. But she was also everybody in it was brilliant, and it looks gorgeous, and it's before I went in to see it, I was kind of going, I need to find a female filmmaker like who's very like popular in the sort of filmic conscious that I actually like, because at this point I'm like, I don't really get on with Greta's filmmaking. I'm not a big fan of what's her name? The one who does all the movies with Kirsten Dunst.
I'm very bad.
She's done Priscilla recently, and then did The Beguiled, and you know what I'm talking about. I can't think of her name.
Yeah.
Sofia Coppola.
Yes.
I can't get on. Like I watched The Virgin Suicides, and I was like, this is not for me. and I started The Beguiled, and I did not get very far into it before I got kind of bored and turned it off. Just I don't know. It's not for me. So I'm on the hunt for like you know, and it's not like I've not seen work by female like directors that I've not enjoyed.
Mm.
That was right. I was trying to get the negative right. But you know, there's just like with the popularity of them, I'm kind of looking for that. But I don't think. I don't know. Emerald Fennel is certainly a bit higher up there than compared to some of the other ones, but I still got issues.
Yeah, the first person that comes to mind as a female director and did a very good job on her first movie was Olivia Wilde with Booksmart.
True.
Which was brilliant, and I truly had a good time. And then what was that? The Dodley movie.
Oh yeah, don't worry, darling.
Don't worry, darling. That's shit. It's like proper shit movie, and I was like, I turned it off after 20 minutes, and I was like, what the fuck was that? And you know, I am biased because I love her very dearly, but Angelina is doing an amazing work in directing movies.
That's also very true.
So I'm like, you know, but I do love her very much.
I think it's one of those things I'm looking for. I suppose Greta is an actor who then became a kind of director, though, is the other thing.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. Also, they're all white, so it's like I really should just like. Obviously, Nia did such a great job with the Marvels, honestly.
And with Candyman as well.
There's the woman who. Oh, of course, I knew there was something else that I hadn't seen Candyman, but I was like, that of course.
It was really good.
And then, the woman who did the Old Guard is spectacular.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Really amazing. It's like, is it what was it? It's like Georgina or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
The blinking of names.
It's just names.
It's not gonna come to me, but I will also say before we forget that Chloe Zhao is great.
And Chloe Zhao too. Yeah, that's also true. Chloe Zhao is brilliant. I really liked Nomadland. It's a really I mean, obviously the Eternals, but like Nomadland is you know her original work, which it was so lovely to watch. It was just like a really beautiful. So they are out there. It's just like so many of them that are like presented to us as like these are like female filmmakers, sort of a thing. But half the time I'm just like, I don't like the way that you're doing. Like, I think it's the thing about like portraying like womanhood, which to be fair, she doesn't. That's not really the point of Saltburn. It's like. Again, two lead characters are men, for one thing. But at least, like, the women in it don't feel like they're going, oh, look, women! Which is the thing that has been bugging me recently.
Yeah, same. I mean, it has been bugging me for a long time now, so I'm like...
But, like, it's been bugging me more recently.
Fair.
There's, like, more, like, immediate examples that I've been...
Yeah. I saw a post that someone put out, and I couldn't agree more. It was basically pictures of women, female leads, in movies that were directed and written by women, and then pictures of women female leads in movies that were written and directed by men. And all the good ones are in that category. Like,
I don't know if I like entire. It's that thing of like, I don't know. I feel like it's because they keep giving the budgets to the wrong women.
Probably. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. It's that thing of like, I mean, it's all about. It's stemming from the fact that I didn't like Barbie, and that like really fucked with me a lot actually.
Yeah.
Especially as it clearly resonated with so many people, and it's just like, you know, trying to deconstruct why it didn't hit properly is you know, that's very much a me thing. But it's not. It's not just a me thing. There's plenty of other people that I've seen who have shared in that opinion. I sent you a really good video essay the other day.
Really good one,
by her name. Their name's Verily Bitchy on YouTube. About all the things that like didn't work about Barbie. And it's fantastic. Should really recommend it.
And so many people should watch that.
Yeah, it is, and they are a spectacular video essayist, which is a very like poignant point considering what's been going on the internet recently. In terms of video essay, it's actually they're one of the people that H1 Guy shouted out at the end of his video. So now you know. They've also got a great one on Doctor Who and women, which I absolutely adored. Which will be, if you're here, we'll be talking about Doctor Who next week.
Yes.
So we're all, but that
On
will
a
also
live
be,
stream
that will
again.
also be a live stream.
Yes.
But it won't be the only content you get that week. Ooh.
Woohoo!
But yeah, those are the sort of main things. Saltburn was really the big one because I was really looking forward to that, and it didn't. It's like it didn't disappoint, but it did leave me like, it got me like thinking about like what didn't work for me in it, what I would have liked more out of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it at all. I actually thought it was very good. Yeah.
Fair. Fair. It's completely fair.
You've not had much time to watch much, have you?
No, but sleepless night helped that problem.
Oh dear.
So yeah, I did watch not many things, but like quite a few things. Most of them were Korean, which is not a surprise at this point. That Castaway Diva was really good in the sense of it was only on Saturday and Sunday, so I had to wait for episodes. But I was always very excited. It always broke my heart. Cried a lot on that, and it's brilliant. I fucking loved it, every single minute of it. And it's full of life and joy and whatnot. So I really enjoyed that. I caught up on Blue Eye Samurai, which was fantastic.
I've heard really good things about that.
Fucking fantastic. I was blown away by it. I didn't have bi panic that people are talking about over on TikTok.
It's almost like it's because you're not bi.
Yeah, probably. Like, Mizu is great, but like, yeah, no. And what else? What else did I watch? I thought of movies when I actually had a tiny bit of time to draw, and I watched Family Switch, which was all right. It had a good premise, and then they just fucked it up. But whenever Jennifer Gardner is in something, I enjoy it. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Murphy's new movie gave me depression in the first 5 minutes.
Oh no!
So, yeah, so I was like,
that's a Christmas
the
one.
Candy Cane thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is it playing in Florida where there's no snow, and I can't handle a Christmas movie where there's no snow at all? It feels depressing to look around at all that decorations and everything, and there's no snow around it.
I mean,
like,
that's just life but at least it's grey.
But it annoyed me so much. I was like so depressed. I turned it off after 5 minutes. I was like, no, I'm not watching this. What else did I watch? I watched something else as well. I don't have my little book with me, but I watched something else. What the fuck did I watch? Oh, My Holo Love. That's another Korean TV series, which I've been eyeing for a while, and that was my late night snack whenever I couldn't sleep. So I was like, nice.
You got Mother and what more than expected.
I've been up a lot at night.
I see.
Let's just put it that way. I couldn't sleep. I'm way too stressed to sleep. So like, let's watch something. Done.
Yeah, fair enough. I've been catching up on Dimension 20 because they've just gotten to at the end of their season that they've been doing at the moment called Burrow's End, which is kind of like a Watership Down inspired. They're all stoats. It's adorable and also heartbreaking. And I think Abria Iyengar is a genius. So there's all that. I absolutely adore that woman. She is incredible at what she does. But yeah, that's also I've just been catching up on Critical Role because I was behind, and now I'm got a new episode out there tonight, so catching up.
Yay! Well done. And now let's get into.
Yes, this is the other thing I've been watching.
Yes, which is not a surprise if you paid attention to the title, dear people. We're going to talk about Sweet Home 2, which was my most anticipated ever since they announced that they're going to do a season 2, which was very satisfying given how the first season ended. I was like,
yeah!
Please tell me you're going to make a season 2.
That's certainly something.
Yeah, we did have to wait for 3 years, but, you didn't, because you watched the entire thing altogether, which is such a good experience, to be fair. It's now out in the open, so obviously it's going to be a spoiler talk. So if you haven't watched Sweet Home 2, this is your warning that we're going to talk spoilers. And I will start with the fact that we're getting season 3 in summer 2024. So
helpful, yeah.
So, which is like, the fact that the entire series ended with that announcement, I was like, fucking great, but like, fuck you all. At the same time, I was like, what the fuck? But before we get into the proper spoiler, take it apart part. Let's hear from you because you watched season 1 and season 2 basically together.
I did.
So just like thoughts all together without spoilers.
It took me a while to find the rhythm because one of the things because I spoke to you a little bit about my reaction to it is that like it's got a different, like it's not like entirely different, but like there is a different rhythm to the storytelling, and I couldn't quite tell if that came from the fact that it's a Korean piece or if it because it came from a webtoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's a little bit of both, but I think a lot more of the structural stuff that was kind of throwing me actually comes from the fact that it's a cartoon, but it was on the web, right? It wasn't actually like
It's
it's
basically
or was it a comic strip?
comic.
It is
Yeah.
a comic. So yeah, so it's a web comic, like that kind
Yeah.
of is a weird thing to adapt. And I can't speak to it entirely because obviously I haven't read it. So take this with a grain of salt. She says burping. But I felt like a lot of the things that didn't like hit as well with me came from the fact that they were trying to adapt a comic strip or full comic, mostly coming from the things like the amount of characters that are in it and how quickly they aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
And all
Yeah.
this sort of thing, which I find if there's so many characters and there's quite a big like quick turnaround on them, I know you can get into it and are able to like emotionally react to it
Yeah.
like quite a lot. I just that shuts me off because I'm like I can't be attached to everybody because they're all just gonna fucking die. So it's like I don't know. I found the first season to be a little disjointed in places, and a bit like I don't know, something about the environment made it feel a bit samey. But there's a lot of things. It is an incredibly well made show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I will not deny that in the slightest. I do think it's very good. It's just different to what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm gonna be insane about it like you are. But I did think it's something that I did appreciate, but also just like notice. Generally speaking, the production quality from season 1 and season 2 went up like
Oh,
tenfold.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it became way more beautiful to watch in season 2. I think maybe just
Mm-hmm.
because we got more variety in like the setting, which was nice.
Yes.
Uh, um, but yeah, I don't know. The turnaround of characters is something that bugs me, you know,
Mm.
especially for certain stuff that happens in season 2. I was kind of I don't know, annoyed by it. I was really thrown off by the end of season 1, just like literally the last 10 minutes because it just sort of went, here's like 3 plot points we haven't spoken about at all this entire season, and you're just gonna get them now. And I'm like, what? What's happening? I don't understand what has just gone on. You've just sort of decided that things should happen now, and there's been no build up to them at all. But I did feel like they very quickly answered them at the beginning of season 2, so I was like, okay, well, that kind of
Yes.
makes a bit more sense. But I can also, if I had to wait 3 years for answers to the end of that first season, I would have been pissed.
Yeah. You know.
Like, just really annoyed. But yeah, it's good. You know, it's a good show. It's well made. I like I feel like if there's anything, I almost want more out of the premise of the monsters. I kind of feel like they underutilize them a bit, you know, and like how they work and all this sort of stuff. I feel like they're too much of a mystery still. I'm like, that's the thing I want to know more about, and it feels like nobody cares enough to like dig into it. Which I imagine we'll get in season 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just like the stuff that I want more answers about. It's kind of the stuff that it really doesn't want to touch much half the time, and I'm like, okay. And it's that thing again of like when you have a lot of characters, you end up spending a lot of time with people that you don't care nearly as much about.
Because it's
Which you're
fair.
kind of sitting there like, okay, this is. I'm sure this is going to be important to the
Yeah,
storytelling
yeah,
later.
yeah, yeah.
I've got so much stuff in my throat. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
But it's like, can we get, especially because the episodes in season 2 are really long. There's
They are
like
very
long
long.
stretches where I'm like, I would like for us to get back to these people now, actually, because I know, like, kind of want to know what's going on with them.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm going to be honest, I want to hear more about what you thought because I know that you had a big emotional reaction to it, but I
I
don't know
did,
what
yeah.
your like actual like thoughts on it are beyond like it made you cry a bunch.
Oh, a lot. I think um season one, I because I wrote an article about about Sweet Home season one and season two literally just now on Cow Soup, and but I wrote
Just
an
this second.
article. Yes, but I wrote an article about why you should start watching Korean TV and
Hmm.
movies, and in that, which I found incredibly funny looking back at it now, I do mention Sweet Home, saying that I couldn't really get into it at the beginning.
Oh my god!
and and the fact that I am now incredibly hooked on it, like it's my most rewatched Korean TV series
Wow.
out of all of them that I really love. Like you all know who have been here for a while now that my favorite Korean TV series is Kingdom,
Mm.
which is fucking brilliant. But I saw that a lot less than I rewatched Sweet Home.
Mm.
Like I think I rewatched Sweet Home 5 times at this point,
God.
at least. And you know, with every rewatch, I discovered something new that I absolutely love in it.
Mm.
And one of those things which I always enjoy about the Korean entertainment scene is how they build up characters and story.
Mm.
And here, the fact that first of all, by Korean beauty standards, they mostly choose people who are not,
That
you know,
that is something I've there is a wide variety of like
yes,
people in it, which I was I was saying this to Mum the other day because my lovely mother has gotten very
we
into
love,
Korean dramas this year.
yes, I love your mother.
Is basically constantly learning is currently learning Korean on a Duolingo.
Same. I love you, Katie's mom.
She watches a lot of them, so I often come in and she tells me about them and sort of stuff like that. But she was telling me a little bit about like see there is the Korean beauty standard, and I was
Yes.
saying to her one of the things that I find always found very exciting is when you get like there's just the selection of people in there. They're all so like there's such a wide variety of them, and even of
Yeah.
like body types as well, which is
Oh
also
yeah.
huge. Um, uh, like and very important, and also just like ages and all of these things,
Yeah.
which is I mean something that needs to be shown across all media, including Western media.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I just had dinner before we started this, so I am a little bit like
It's all right.
yeah, it's just nice to see people who are like very distinct from each other because like
Yeah.
there is something about the Korean beauty standard, and I do feel like I'm maybe stepping out of like things that I know here. So I'm anybody who wants to be like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, shut the hell up. Perfectly welcome to that. But there is something about it means that you get a lot of is homogeny the word I'm looking for? Sameness
Yes.
across
Yes.
like
Yeah.
people. Um, uh,
There are things
which is
that
not
they're
which I'm not trying to say that everybody looks the same
no, no, no,
because
no.
but like you can
But there are
there's a
characteristics of the face, for
mm,
example, but the body as well, that
mm,
they are just particularly find more beautiful than
yeah
other characteristics. Like
yeah
it's fascinating to me that they are so hooked on this
mm,
because, to be honest, Sweet Home is refreshing to watch
mm,
after you watch the usual
mm,
K drama, which I'm not saying it's bad
mm.
because I watch it, so therefore I do.
I
I
would be
do.
being incredibly hypocritical if I were.
So I do enjoy that as well, but it's very obviously glaring into your face that usually people in K dramas are fucking beautiful, especially if they are the main characters. Like, so here I that's what I just fell in love with the characters even after knowing like what's gonna happen with all of them. And that's what I enjoy most on the rewatch. Like one of my favorite ones is Sangwook, who's thankfully is here for season 2. A bit changed.
Just a
Gonna get
bit
into that
changed.
in a second. I do enjoy him like that as well. Not gonna
No, that's true too. I have to agree with you there.
because he's fucking great. But like we had the rock and roll grandpas in season 1, who both of them I loved very dearly, even though their ending is very fucking sad and breaks my heart every single time.
Yeah.
The kids, all of the smaller parts in the cast that were the supporting actors, everyone had something different going for them. So it wasn't like all the same, like same sad backstory for everyone. Everyone had different things going, and you could be like, okay, you're this, you're that, and that's why I should care about you, or that's why I should fucking hate you.
Yeah.
Because there were characters like that as well.
Yeah. That's I think that's one of the other things that I found. There's not a whole lot of there is grey, but the grey looks very different to the grey sort of like morality that you get used to watching Western media.
Oh yeah.
The amount of black and white is a lot more prominent in that there are characters that are just straight up bad.
True.
I
I'm not
think,
even gonna argue.
honestly, one of the things that like kind of threw me a lot was like going through Hyun-sun's backstory and being like, here's why he's so fucked up. And I was like,
Yeah.
wait, are you sorry? Sorry. Some guy just decided that he sucked and then made his life truly a living hell.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's it. And it's like,
because the sky
hell.
was blue.
Like, that was it. That's all. And like, there was like very little what's the word I'm looking for? Sympathy shown towards him for the fact that he just existing. He was just trying to be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what to do with this. You know?
Yeah, but that's one thing that I really enjoy in every Korean drama, is that they take time with the backstories and how they introduce them, and when they introduce them, it's always very important to get to that point. Usually by the halfway point, by the way, in everything. But like, yeah, it keeps changing. But so yeah, I don't know. I just fell in love with it. I think by the second rewatch, I was like just completely in love with it. I cry every single time.
I think watching it again would endear me a little bit more to it. I think it's really overwhelming the first time because so much happens.
It is. I think that's why I wrote that in my very first article about any Korean thing, that I couldn't really get into it the first time around because it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a fucking lot. And I was like, I think I was a bit confused by it at first. And yeah, second time magic happened. I was like, oh, this is so fucking good. I really fucking enjoyed it. It breaks my heart. Fucking breaks my heart every time. Especially the last episode. The last episode makes me ugly cry all the freaking time. I'm like, what the fuck? Basically, at this point, I'm not going to say spoilers for season 1. Most of the cast dies in.
They're all fucking dead.
It's
the thing. I was just sitting there like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, when that fucking asshole shot Songwook,
I was just like, what?
No, you didn't. No, I had
stuff
to.
Just happens. Is the thing. It's like stuff. Like it's not like a sense of like It's dramatic irony. The term I'm looking for. I don't know, but like that sense of like, oh god, something is about to happen. They're telegraphing it. Just doesn't occur. They don't telegraph anything. They're just sort of like, and now this is happening, and you're like, sorry.
Yep.
What's that?
Yeah. Yeah, it do be like that. So yeah, this throws me every time. And even though I texted you about it, I did really love season 2. I'm going to start like that.
Okay.
I don't like that it feels like a mid-season.
Okay.
That's my basically only problem with it, if I'm honest. It's like because by the time
it's got middle book ISIS.
yeah, it's because when I got to episode 7, I was like, okay, so now they either gonna put everything in episode 8 and fuck the whole thing up because there's no way you can solve all these questions and everything in episode 8, or we're getting a season 3, which is like, great, but how when literally Song Kang, who plays the main character, Hinsu, just announced that he's gonna do his military service and this is his last project. And I was like, I was very nervous. And then obviously the last episode closes with Sweet Home 3 is going in. So
it's only 6 months away, really.
Yeah. Basically, so I was like, okay, so they shot it together. That's the secret to it all. they already have it, so it's like, okay, good. I'm a bit calmer now, but I think that was what disappointed me a little bit because we answered a lot of questions from season 1, but we opened up new ones, very interesting ones. I'm going to put it up there, and it's open again.
I did find that at least this time they kind of telegraphed more of the questions that were left at the end of season 2. I was kind of like, okay, well, I can feel like they're actually setting stuff up this time, as opposed to the end of season 1 truly threw me through a fucking loop because like when they all got onto that truck and then Yi Kyung comes out in her like military garb and she's like, no, I'm not coming with you, I'm going off this way, and you're like, wait, what? What's happening? Where did this come from? I don't understand what's happening here. And then, like, 5 minutes later, when you see Hyun Soo in the back of that truck, and and the guy turns around and it's like, oh, hey, look, it's Sang Wook. And it's just sort of like, what happened? Especially it was when they all left, and yes, we are going into this is all season 1 stuff anyway. When they all were escaping out that tunnel underneath the building, and
yes,
I'm looking at I've got my little cheat sheet in front of me because I can't remember anybody's fucking names. Where's his name? Where's he gone? You know him, the glasses guy. Yeon-hyuk.
Yeon-hyuk, yeah.
Yeah. He was like, no, it's fine. I'll catch up to you. Keep going and all this sort of stuff. And he's just sort of standing there. I was like, you could so easily go back. Why are you still here? And eventually it was like, he's bleeding, and he's just like sitting there going, oh, where the fuck did that come from?
To be fair, I was kind of...
You've seen the show 5 times, so you have to admit it.
Yeah, that's true. I think it threw me in the loop the first time as well. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember anymore. But like looking back at it now, it's like basically it can happen at any time. So it wasn't that surprising that he,
I think that might be one of the things that kind of is, like, it's not like frustrating feels like too big of a word, but like I'm getting a little bit like I'm like mildly irritated by it, is that we still don't really understand what it is that triggers it. And
they put theories in this one.
There's like bits and pieces everywhere, but like there's like not enough like drive for me within the plot to figure out what's going on. Which I wouldn't mind if it's like set up to be like, it literally doesn't matter, we just got to deal with it. But it kind of feels like they do kind of want you to care about why. And I get, like, I'm, like, being pulled in 2 different directions where I'm like, I could either let this go, or I could actually look into it. And to be honest, the looking into it seemed way more interesting to me.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, I kind of see what they are doing. Is that, I think, especially, okay, season 2 spoilers coming in.
Now we're doing it. We're doing it.
Yeah,
happening.
we're doing it. It's happening. Season 2 spoilers for Sweet Home are coming in right now. So if we look at the soldiers in season 2, basically they are the ones who say it out loud, like it doesn't really matter what triggers it. And that's like, I think that's the realistic view on it. When you are living in a world where people can suddenly turn into monsters and your priority needs to be like, okay, how the fuck can we survive?
Sure. sure.
with this thing. And then there's our fucking asshole professor. Fuck him, Dr. Lim.
I'm not gonna
I
lie to
fucking
you.
hate you.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I started to really enjoy him by the end of the season.
He's
Like
really
at the beginning, I was like, literally, just fuck this guy. I couldn't be
yeah.
bothered with him. But by the end of it, I was like, no, he's kind of fun actually.
He is fun. I won't say that he isn't, but like he's awful. Let's be fair. Like,
He grew his hair out and then became kind of like a little bastard boy, and I was like, no, I'm kind of enjoying this actually.
yeah, he's a great.
Before he was just like evil, kind of like I think it was because he had power at the beginning of the season, and by the end of it, he kind of didn't anymore. So he became kind of more fun to watch.
True. I won't argue with that, but like I think he is us.
Yeah.
The audience, basically, because he's the only one who's actively like, what is going on with this thing?
Yeah.
I want to find out, and I think that's the creator's way of showing, like, we care about you people.
Okay.
There are two sides. That's how I look at it, because I am interested as well. I didn't read the webtoon. I'm not gonna lie. One day I have too many things to take care of.
You don't have to put that in your mind right now.
Yeah, but one day I'm gonna get around to it. So I don't know the answer. All I know is that at one point I read someone say that they think that the reason behind the monsterization is very interesting, and they didn't think about that reason, and that's all I read about it. And I'm like, okay, all right. And they kind of threw around a few ideas of what it is.
There's like, you got an idea of like, because I read a lot of stuff about being like, the monsterization comes from like it's the manifestation of people's desires, and I found it took me a while to understand what they were going for with that, because a lot of the early ones don't feel like desires. They feel like I don't really know the word is. They feel like a corrupted, like a corruption more than like a desire.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah. Or like it feels like the manifestation of a deadly sin more than it does like.
Yeah.
Then there are some people where you can actively go, okay, I see what you're going for here, and like, this is clearly the thing that people want. And it has manifested in this way. For like the really obvious ones are like hang on, I've got to go back to my little notes. What's his name?
Yes.
Where's my cheat sheet? Sukyun, the shop owner who was shitty to his wife, wanted hair. So when he finally turns into a monster, he's covered in hair. Like that's like a pretty one-to-one thing. Or the woman in the shopping center that they find in the beginning of season 2, who's like just covered in clothes,
just covered in clothes.
It's like, she's just like she just wants stuff. And like so you can kind of see there's like one-to-one stuff going on in that in a lot of those sorts of things. Or like Jinook, or is that who am I thinking of? No, hang on. J1. I have them all written down.
I know. I'm very proud of you.
I'm just showing the audience. Like, I wrote them all down. I gave them little descriptions next to them and everything. Although, to be fair, I stuck them up very close together, so it's quite hard to read.
Fair.
I'm like, where the fuck is everybody's names? The guy who like is clearly very vain, and who in season 2 then like, which was horrifying.
It was.
With its like thumb head that suddenly goes down. She's like, "Am I pretty?" I'm like, "Oh fuck, dude."
Oh God. But it's like, no, I can see why people were like confused by that. Like, you know,
there's like a fair few that I can see that are like one-to-one sorts of things. But
I really like the first. I really like the first explanation that Dr. Lim says in the very first episode, that this is the Earth answer to the virus. To us, we are that the monsterization is the antidote to human race, basically.
Yeah, that is interesting. But in my head, because the things are so tangible, right? That to me goes, okay, but who's making that decision then, right? Is the Earth enough of a character? Does it have enough of a conscience to decide, actually, we need to get rid of these people because I'm sick of them? Or is that just a metaphor for like what's going on? And especially because I find the monster stuff so interesting, because so many of them are not murderous.
Yeah.
there are enough of them that, but like
Yeah.
but there's like them, and this is the thing I've been getting annoyed with a lot in stuff recently, and I think this says more about where I'm at generally speaking than it does like the actual media itself, because I don't think there's actually technically anything wrong with it. It just it irritates me personally. I'm having the same thing with, pardon me, Gen
That's right.
V and the boys, where there's a lot of like all or nothing thinking going on, where like so many people are just like, well, this thing is bad because I have this thing, and I feel like it works a bit better in this than I found it did in Gen V personally, but
Mm.
there is a lot of like, well, these things have already tried to kill us, so everything must be out to kill us, and we must eradicate all of them. But there's not enough space for anybody to be like, well, hang on a second, this thing didn't try to kill me, and not all of them do. So what's the need to like try and get rid of them other than just like
Fear.
superiority?
Yeah, and fear. Yeah.
Which again, I think works a lot better in this because I think you have enough characters that actually do voice that opinion. The
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I actually think has worked so well for me in this was hang on, I have to get it the right way around. Young Soo. I was like,
Young
no,
Soo. Yeah.
yeah, Young Soo, who has honestly become my favorite kind of like archetype of the entire thing, because he was starting to get on my nerves a little bit with just how much they just had him sitting around and crying, which I understand. He's 6, like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff. But that time skip and the fact that he actually gets to be like, nah, fuck this.
Yeah.
Fuck all of you. None of you have helped me enough. And I'm like, see, that's a character progression that I can get behind, because yes,
Yeah.
you absolutely deserve to have that attitude compared to everything that happens to you. I was kind of annoyed almost. I mean, because like, I don't know, annoyed me feels like a too harsh a word. You sent me a picture a couple of days ago of the original lot in the green
Yes.
building, and like 3 of them are still alive, and
That's
that's
poor, but like,
it's like
yeah.
um you know, I'm not sure if that's exactly it, but like so many of the characters we started off with are just not there anymore, and it felt
Yeah.
like to me a lot of um the deaths that happened at least in season 2 came from, we need to get rid of these people because we need to introduce like about 50 more people that we need you to try and start caring about, and we don't have the space for them. And I'm like, I don't. I'm kind of annoyed more than anything else,
Yeah.
really. You and I both agreed that Jisoo,
Oh,
that I did not enjoy that at all.
I hated that. I hated that. I was like, that's one of your best characters. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? And I know this. I know this for a fact, even though I didn't read the webtoon. But Jisoo is actually the love interest for Hyun Soo. And the fact that they completely got rid of that storyline in the first season already, just, already was an indicator that they're going to kind of replace her as the main female lead in the
Yeah.
whole thing. And season 2 just proved that right.
It's just like
To
it
be
did it.
fair.
It didn't satisfy. It was just kind of like, especially after I think it was around that time that I texted you and I went, really, does anything good ever happen to anybody in this show? And you went, not really.
Not really.
I was like, cool. I feel great watching this.
I should have told you that before.
It's just like,
Look, it has hope in it. Like it's in the show's gene.
I
To
don't feel it nearly as much, and which is fascinating to
you,
me, because so many of the shows that I'm like, this thing actually feels really hopeful to me, you've been like,
yeah,
that's really fucking depressing. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah,
I just
exactly.
find it really interesting that we're completely swapped. 'Cause I find
Completely.
it like I kind of get there a little bit more as the season went on a bit, but especially those first 2 episodes, I was like, this is really rough.
It is.
It's like really rough. So I more rough than I'm used to. And I don't know if it's just because the setting feels a bit more like bleak, or the way that the Koreans do storytelling. Mum and I will talk about this a little bit as well. How she's got a Korean friend who says that Korean storytelling and Irish storytelling are actually very similar in that they both do kind of like, things suck because we as a country have gone through a lot of stuff that sucks. So they
Yeah.
go for like depressing and all this sort of stuff a little bit more like harder than like I think American or English. No, even I'm going to go specifically American because I think American
Yeah,
stuff is
yeah, yeah.
inherently a little bit more hopeful.
Yeah.
Um, I think even you know British horror has a tendency to be a bit more bleak than like in most
True.
other things, but I think but like specifically Irish writing and like Korean writing are actually very similar in that regard. Um, they've got a lot in common. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know I was just thinking about the fact that like I get on a lot more with Irish storytelling than I do I think some of the Korean stuff. But
Yeah.
even then, Mum and I went to go see a play because her cousin was in it. I took her to see it for her birthday. It's called Portia Coughlin, and that was like the peak of like Irish playwright sort of stuff. It was about depression and suicide, and there was incest
Yeah.
involved, and like
God.
it was oh yeah, barrel of laughs, very
Yeah.
good. Everybody in it was incredible. The poor woman who was playing Portia Coughlin must have been. Cannot imagine how exhausted she must have been doing that 8 times a week. Um,
I can.
because like I mean, but she's like weeping for like basically the entire play,
Yeah.
and I'm like, good lord, I hope she's okay, sort of a thing. Um, but yeah, I don't know, I just find it very interesting. I think I said this to you. I don't know where I'm at currently. I'm not sure if I'm particularly into that kind of storytelling nearly as much at the moment. I think I'm looking for things that are a bit more overtly hopeful. Not even overtly hopeful, but like it different to the way that I think feel like this. I don't feel that hope nearly as much as I feel like it seems that you do. Um,
I don't think that's, that's a you thing. I
mm,
think there are a lot of people who feel the same way.
okay,
But I mean it in a general sense that
okay,
there is, it's there, very well hidden. Just putting it out there. But it's there. It's there with, with every character and everything that's going on. It's like,
okay. Yeah, no,
it's around.
I could see how it comes from the characters. To be fair, I feel
Yeah.
like that does make sense to me. I feel like in the plot, I'm finding it difficult to find it because the plot kind of keeps throwing things and going, and here's
Yeah.
another problem, and I'm like, is there ever going to be anything that means that like people can find happiness again? It's kind of like,
I'm truly thinking that that's the end goal
mm,
in a way. Because there was one question that we didn't get an answer for,
mm.
and it was a question I had throughout season one. Does this happening
Everywhere else.
anywhere else?
That I did. This actually did occur to me.
I was like, because I have to go back there because it's my favorite Korean movie. In Train to Busan,
Mm.
and in the second movie, we find out that it was only South Korea that the whole zombie virus started, and
Right.
it stayed there. So it's not affecting anywhere else in the world. It's just there. And I'm like, I think it's a very important question here
Yeah.
in Sweet Home. Like, is this like secluded?
Yeah. You kind of start wondering. I think the question that came to mind a lot when I was watching it was like, why doesn't anybody leave this fucking city?
Yeah, that's yeah,
That's like one of the huge things because it seems like cars are not actually working cars don't actually seem that they're that hard to find. And it's like it's not been too long for the petrol supplies to run out.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Why wouldn't you just go off into like the middle of
Just
nowhere,
yeah, and
find a
just try
nice
to
little
find
house,
something.
and just
Yeah,
find somewhere where you can just like I don't know, find a bit of like calm, um, where you would be away from. And I suppose that there's that one guy. I didn't find his name because when I was starting to looking for people's names in season 2, I
yeah,
started struggling. But the guy with the shotgun who is with the young woman, um,
yeah,
his thing is like I want to get away from everybody,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like he's got the right idea.
He does.
He's got the right idea, but the wrong attitude about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's like, because I think it would be important to know, like, is this only happening here?
Yeah.
Or is it affecting the entire world? Because then it's like, I can see the ending going two very different ways
Mm.
with that information in mind. If that makes sense.
No,
Like,
no, I can see what you mean.
it's like, I kind of want to know. I don't think at this point, I am not sure if we're going to get an answer to that question. Maybe. I'm not one to say that it's not going to happen, but maybe we don't know. But yeah, I kind of feel like that we are going to get a bittersweet ending.
Probably. I feel like the ending can't be, in my head, at this point, can't really be about, like, the state of the world. It needs to be about the state of the characters.
Yes.
And at that
100%.
point, it needs to be, like, who do we care about enough to, like, who's still alive? Because, like,
Yeah.
let's be real.
Let's be real.
Who are we caring about that's still alive? That, like, I want to see, like, peace for certain people, right?
Yes.
Or, like,
Yeah.
a sense that, like, they're going to be able to keep going is a thing. Or a definitive ending. Because, like, that's the only other thing I can think of is, like, nobody survives. Everybody becomes monsters. Or they all die. I don't know. Because it just, I don't know. It for me, what I would need out of it is for a sense of, like, yeah, resolution for what the characters are going to decide to do with the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
That's
Is it even possible to
is it even possible?
stay human? You know, like,
Yeah.
is that even a possibility for
Well,
everyone?
supposedly a vaccine exists.
Supposedly, I don't think it's a vaccine. I think it has something to do with patient number one's blood, who was
Sang-won.
the fiance of
Yeah, Sang-won.
Yeah, yes. I think it because there's a scene in episode 2 when Sang-wook feels like he lost his powers. Something is going on there, and
Yeah, no, that was really interesting to me because we were talking a little bit about this before we started. To me, that looked like he was almost getting absorbed by, or like kind of merging with his host, essentially, because he was kind of getting his memories. Yeah. But then by the end of the season, he's somebody entirely different in that he is someone. So it's kind of like, the fuck happened to this guy?
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see. But I think there's something going on there with the blood.
Yeah, that would make sense to me. And it was really interesting when he found, when Yi-kyung found him in that isolation chamber. He looked way more healthy than he did when Sam walked in. I was like, that man looks well. He's not breathing, but he looks like he's got meat on his bones.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, what's going on there? And Dr. Lim says that he hid the vaccine.
Yeah.
Where no one would find it. And I'm like, hold on.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Hold on. Are you doing what I think you're doing? I think they're doing what I think they're doing. Also, obviously, say too quickly. I think if we look at the ending of it all, I think what they are going towards a lot more is that because we know that there are peaceful monsters, let's call them monsters, neo-humans, that are just, they're just not gonna hurt you. They go into the green category because they are using colors. I love that to, brand them and be like, okay, we don't have to worry about that one. Is it going to be possible by the end, or is that going to be the final solution of, like, monster and humans coexist and just find?
Yeah, but this is the other thing. There's many other things, but this is the other thing that comes up when I've picked up. This is a tape measure. This is now my gesticulating tool.
That's fine. I'm touching my thing.
Here's the thing. Something really weird happened with Hyunsoo in that, like, arena where he was. Again, one of the things. So many naked people in this season. Just so many of them.
I
was
enjoyed it.
Within the past 20 minutes, I've seen 3 people's butts. It's like kind of
beautiful butts. Gotta say,
it's like from both, from 2 separate genders. Like, I saw a lady butt, I saw 2 guys' butts. This whole thing going on. But in that arena, when they send in the one that supposedly is, they carry him.
Yes.
And then and then go, hey, these guys are like they are reactive to blood and all this other stuff, and he kind of bites him, and then he kind of like sees his memories in a
Yeah.
weird sort of thing, and he suddenly goes like, oh, he's still human under there, and I feel like some of the translation stuff gets a bit. I feel like it loses something in there because I'm reading the subtitles and I'm like, I don't think this is actually getting across the full extent to what people are trying to say in these scenes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, what I read was like almost read was happening was that there was something going on with the way that because Hyunsu had like he's in a very unique position is that he's kind of both,
Yeah.
and something about his blood meant that the other guy almost came back to awareness.
Yeah. 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 Basically.
And it's sort of like, well, what's that about?
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. I think it's, yeah, I think Patient One and Hinsu and, these special infectees are going to connect in a way where they might be a solution to it all. Which
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to mean that people are going to turn back or monsters are going to turn back to people.
No.
But they can calm them down, I guess.
Find a way to manage it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be very interesting to see like what they do with it all, because the other thing I saw is that there's another series I very dearly love. It's Alice in Borderland, and that's based on a manga, and I didn't read the manga. It's a Japanese series, so I wasn't aware like what's gonna be the outcome of it all, because there they just get sucked into an alternate version of Japan, basically. And they have to play these deadly games to collect cards, and they can die and whatever. So it's like it's very meta and very out there.
Yeah, the isekai moment, sort of.
Yeah. And then at the end of season 2, which is spoilers if you haven't seen it, but there's going to be a season 3 now, which I'm very happy about. Although I have no idea what they're going to do with that, because they did the same thing that happens in the manga. As it turns out that the whole thing was a collective imagination of all of them, because what happened is a meteor struck Japan, and they were in between life and death, and they experienced.
Oh my god, they lost it them.
Yeah. And then they, the ones who survived all the games and got to the final part, they actually, they woke up.
Oh my god.
And I was like, what? I was very confused. I was like, wait, what? The whole thing, they just imagined it, like all of them together? Like, what the fuck happened here? So I'm very interested to see what happens in season 3. But anyway, I am now wondering, I really hope I'm not correct in this case, because I think it would ruin Sweet Home. I'm not going to lie. But there's this theory that's not based on the webtoon, that much I know, that there was this season 1 episode where we are in Hyunsu's memories, basically.
Yeah, that's where we find out about all this stuff, right?
No, not that one.
Okay.
When the family dies, and he sees them with the bleeding nose and everything, and he thinks that he just imagined the whole thing about being stuck in the building where people turning into monsters, and then that's when he first sees his evil version, basically. And someone threw it out there, like, what if this is all in his head? And it's gonna be like a metaphor for dealing with like suicidal and depression and whatever thoughts that
Here's
are
the thing,
connected
though.
with it.
After season 2, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, I know.
Because he's not in it enough.
Yeah.
Like,
So
he's not the main character in season 2, which
Nah.
honestly kind of annoyed me. Because I was kind of like,
too.
but he's the guy. He's the guy we're meant to be
guy.
rooting for. And he's just not there. Also, they grow his hair out again. But he's like, this hair's so nice. And then they keep growing it out at the sides. It's like, time has passed. And I'm like, come on.
I love that hair. Come on.
To be fair, his season 2 one looks way better than the season 1
That's
one.
true.
Because the
think
only
that's
one
because
hair
he-
is like depression hair. He's got a helmet on, sort of a thing.
But I think it's because it's his hair, so it's not a wig. I believe. So maybe that's the reason. But like, he wasn't in season 1 that much. Everyone thinks that, but he didn't
True,
have
but
a
like
lot
he's
more screen
when
time.
when you see anything like describing the plot of the show, it's about him. It's about the fact that
Yes,
he is the character we get introduced to in this world. He's meant to be our
yes,
lead, essentially,
yes.
and he gets like fully what's her name? Hang on, I'm going back to my thing.
Ichin.
You?
Yep,
Yeah. Sorry. Again. The other part of this is like I know that the sounds in Korean are really strange.
different. Yeah, different from what we're used to. Yes.
Very, yeah, strange only in that they are different to what I'm used to.
Yeah, yeah,
That's all
yeah.
I mean. And a lot of the times the letters that I'm used to pronouncing are not actually how they sound in Korean or in
Yep.
Hangul. Because my mum went through the whole alphabet and was like, this sound, which is like a D or something like that, sounds like a J, like I don't know, a J. I can't remember specifically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, okay, helpful. Um, you becomes the main character in the second half
Yes.
of season two. In
Which
a,
annoyed me at first because I couldn't stand her in this first season at the
I
beginning.
found her interesting. I actually quite enjoyed.
She was interesting, but like she
I
became
kind of
a
like
good one
the
halfway through.
yeah. It's interesting to me. Very Ellie vibes.
Yes,
Like even in the way she was dressed, I was like, I'm getting some real Ellie vibes right now.
it's true.
This show's giving me some real Last of Us vibes.
Yep,
Person who's only ever played The Last of Us.
it's true.
Yeah, she really reminds me of She really reminded me of Ellie. I enjoyed her a lot more in that yeah, that second half of the second season. But I almost was like, again, it's that thing of like, well, now I'm interested in you. Stop cutting away.
Yeah, yeah, but I think it's once again, it's it's just how Korean TV
Yeah.
shows are working because they are not doing it for no reason at all.
Right. No, I don't
That's
believe that at all. But like, yeah.
that, I mean, I'm only saying that because I've been getting pissed off looking through some of the TikToks that people are critiquing Sweet Home 2. And basically, the biggest criticism is that the soldier plot was boring. And I'm like, I get that you are fucking hung up on Song Kang, who's a beautiful man, and you're in love with him. I get that, but that doesn't mean that a series is bad because they are focusing on something else for a good amount of time. And I don't have a problem with someone who criticizes it in a way where feel like they could have done it in a way where we can see what happened with them as well. The three main characters that we left behind after episode 3. I can get on board with that, but when someone is like, that was boring and it was unnecessary, did you watch Sweet Home?
I don't think
There's
it was
usually not many.
I don't know. It's like I don't know if it was unnecessary. I don't know if I liked them all that much. I think like it was too many of them for me to like kind of get on board with all of them. So there was a couple of them that I really enjoyed.
Yes.
Sergeant the sergeant is it Kang?
Oh,
Tack.
Tack.
Sergeant
yes.
Tack.
Sorry.
He had a thing. There was a thing going on with him and that other guy that he kept like talking. I couldn't find his name, but like the other guy that kind of was his like little second, the sort of
Yes.
big eyes. I was like, that man likes you. Like there is something like he keeps like really looking like he likes you, and I don't know if like I don't think they'll ever make that textual in the way that like this just the way that any of the romances in the show have gone. Which is not many, frankly. But I was just like, there was a couple of moments where I was like, yeah, that man really definitely has a thing for you. And I'm like, that would be fun for you to explore. But there was a couple of them that I found a bit like inconsistent. There was one guy that was like, very intent on like, these are my brothers and I really, really care about them. The moment anybody else popped up, he was like, you fucking suck. I'm the best. Get the fuck out of here. And I was like, there's a real like tonal inconsistency with the way you are with people. I don't know if I can like I'm having a trouble getting on board with your whole thing, dude. But like yeah, I don't know. There was an implied lot of soldiers, and I found it difficult to be like fully on board with everybody. There was there was a few that I enjoyed. But I think
And
that's just the overpopulation thing that the show has in general. I don't think
but
it's like necessarily confined
yeah,
to the soldiers.
but I don't think that the point of them existing was to, have people like all of them, basically.
No,
Or
that's true.
or
I
it
can't, I came out this even further on board with my own. You know what? Fuck the military. Just like generally speaking, I'm like, no, I don't like this at all.
I
Especially
think
after
what,
that whole sequence in I think the first episode with the monster that was just trying to get back
yeah,
to its kid. I was
yeah,
like, you are killing more people. You are
yeah,
getting any bullets on
that
that
was
thing. I was
very
like,
frustrating.
fucked.
Yeah, that was like, it's just horrifying to watch because it is. Once again, I can only say it like this, that people are stupid in a situation like this. They are even more stupid than usual,
Mm.
and that I can see that 100% happening. 100% happening, that they would just start shooting without,
Oh, I can see it because that's
a
what the military's like.
100%, 100% can see that. So I was like, okay, this is incredibly sad and just
Not to get
heartbreaking.
entirely predictable, sorry, not predictable, political, but like we're seeing very many examples of that right
Yeah,
fucking now.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, that's just, it was a bit too realistic. Let's put it that way. But what I found interesting with the soldiers, and I think what was their main point with them,
Mm,
is that in the first season, there's just mostly talk about them,
mm.
taking over, and it's all out and everything is on the military and blah 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 blah. And now we can see them, like how this whole thing affects them, basically, like, how they're going to react. Are they going to follow protocol? Are they going to, be logical about the whole situation? Are they scared? Are they,
So they're just
da, da,
like
da, da, da.
everybody else. Nobody knows what they're doing. They just have more
Exactly,
power.
exactly. And I think it showed really well. And I like the dynamic with Sergeant Tech. Was it Tech? It
Tack.
was Tech.
Yeah.
Yes. Because he was very level-headed.
Yeah, Sergeant Tack was the guy in charge of like everybody, and then the other guy
Yes.
who was turning later on was somebody else whose name I can't remember, and I couldn't find it as I was looking. The guy with he was not the guy with the scars all over his face. He was the other guy who was kind of up against him.
Kim. That was Kim.
So I was looking at him, I was like, no, that's so yeah. Good.
Hold on. I have an article open.
It was yeah, because
Just
there was the guy who was like covered in scars.
that's Tech.
That's Tack. I thought the other guy was
That's
Tack.
Tech.
Fuck.
That is Tech. Yeah. Sergeant Tech, yes. And then we have Dr. Lin. Yeah, I don't care about Kim. It is Kim. Kim Young-ho. That's my guy. That's my guy. I sent a picture because that's, hold on. Fucking ring light. Hold on.
Kim. What was his last name? Young. Oh, sorry, first name.
Kim Young-ho. Him.
Yeah, sorry, he was the guy I was talking about before, who had the other guy who clearly liked him.
Oh, the car scene where they talk
Yeah.
about. So are you seeing anyone?
Yeah, that one.
I think that's just,
No. There's other bits where you can see the other guy looking at him. It's like those two. That guy really likes him.
I mean, he's a beautiful, beautiful man. He was. I freaked out Katie. But that's a side run. I freaked out poor Katie because in between rehearsals, I was like, okay, I have to write this down.
Literally out of nowhere was just like, I have to sit down. I've got to get this out. And I'm like, is everything okay? Have I done something wrong?
And it was literally
Like
because
this guy's this guy, and I'm like,
yeah.
Christ, you have to put you can't bury the lead like that.
I was so excited to share it with someone. I was like, because Kim Moo-yo, who plays Kim Young-ho in the series, is the same actor who is in one of my favorite Korean movies, Forgotten, which I recommended many times. It's on Netflix. Please watch it. It's fucking brilliant. And I was like, I know him. I fucking know him. And I couldn't realize like why do I know him? And then I found an article by accident, and there it was, and I was like, fucking shit. That is him. What the fuck? I have a good face memory, so I had the tingling that I know this man. He's great. I watched Forgotten, Silent Over. Where were we? Yes.
Yeah.
Soldiers. So Tech, yes, Sergeant Tech. I really enjoyed his character because they first introduced him as like this. He's gonna be the evil guy, and everyone should hate
He's
him and
kind of the
whatever.
reasonable guy.
And yes, and he turns out to be the reasonable one.
Hmm.
Like throughout the entire thing, and he's the first who really like not the first like the second in their little survivor camp who's starting the monsterization without any signs, basically no nosebleed, nothing drastic like that. And I'm like, I'm very interested
I
to see
am.
like,
I'm not gonna lie. Quite glad that the nosebleeds are kind of becoming less
yeah, I
frequent.
know, I'm sorry, I
On
forgot to talk
no,
about
it's
that.
like I got it from the trailer to be fair because like, it happens a lot. It's like a little bit of like trickling blood down the nose. That's fine. It's that sound that they stick with it. With
Yeah.
I'm just like I couldn't do it. I was like I gotta stop looking at this. It's actually making me feel
Yeah,
like so ill.
yeah, it's a lot.
It's
It
so
made me a
much.
bit dizzy
It's
as
like,
well.
jeez. It's like I can feel
Yeah,
it every time. I was like, I feel like I'm gonna burst a blood vessel every time I'm
yeah, yeah,
looking at
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no,
Yeah,
please
yeah,
stop.
I had the same feeling, so I can completely understand. Uh, but yeah, so I think they they did a very good
Sigh.
side. They did. I really enjoyed the soldiers part because I didn't look at it as looking at the soldiers individually. I looked at it like how soldiers are, which I always enjoyed in
Yeah, you are
war
a war
movies.
movie
I
aficionado.
am.
Um,
I am. So I'm like, which is like, yes, the individual matters, but it's always about the bond that is between them.
mm,
And I really enjoy that. Yeah, but yes, basically they are like human beings after all. And although they're gonna do the heavy lifting, which is like going out, exploring new things and whatever, and trying to get food back. Da, 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 da. So that's like, yes, that's protocol and whatnot. But I like that they were humans, and the second one of their own got into trouble, everyone was like, okay, what are we gonna do about this?
mm.
And I was like, that's where they got really interesting to me because I was like, oh, we're getting to my favorite thing. Yes, we are. So exciting. I wrote my freaking thesis about this when I was at university. So like, I really like this stuff. So I don't think they were boring at all. I do understand that after watching an entire season with, you know, basically, yeah, let's say three main characters remaining at this point, and then just getting away from them for like a good 3 episodes, because I think they're coming back in like 6 or 7 or
Yeah.
something. I understand it is frustrating, obviously, but they wouldn't do it if that wasn't the reason behind it. That's what I'm saying.
Mm. Yeah. I don't know. I what was I gonna say? Stuff.
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 I think you can tell that really is my main complaint, is that it felt like a mid-season.
Yeah. No,
That's
I know. I can agree. I think I can get on. I think I agree. But I also liked it more than the first season. I think. Um,
yeah,
honestly,
100%.
I think
100%.
it was a lot easier to, not even easier, just like it was like it just looked better to watch. It was kind of like
It
the
looked gorgeous.
huge thing that came out of it to me because like the moment the second season started, I was like, my God, this just immediately feels a way better to look at. Everything felt less homogenous. Like there was way more colors going on. It just like visually was way more
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of other things to say because there's so many characters. I don't know how I feel about the Yikyung and her kid plot. I don't know if I liked it that much. I like her kid. I find her interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like what they did with her character surrounding her kid. Um, it kind of made me not like her as much, and I really liked her in season one. Um,
I'm not gonna lie, that's where the Korean
yeah,
lifestyle and whatnot comes in a lot, because yeah, as much as there's motherly love involved, like they can be very harsh with their kids.
it's just like I don't know. It's that thing of like everybody's so rough with each other. It's such a like, and it's such a small thing where I'm like, stop being mean.
Yeah. No,
You don't
I
need
know
to
what you
shake
mean.
people so violently constantly. It's not necessary.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But I think
Like, I could see what they're going for. I just don't think I liked it
yes.
very much. You know.
Yeah. It
um.
feel it like I don't know because that's like one of few plot points that I don't like involved in like monster related things,
Mm,
movies, whatever, is when there's this super child basically
mm,
involved. Which there are not many titles that I can say right now, but I know that I saw it in something and annoyed me
mm.
a little bit. And I was afraid that they're gonna do it in here. And I'm glad that I think it was obvious that she's gonna age very rapidly.
She could be quick. Yeah.
Like, yeah,
She's going
it's
full Renesmee.
yes, like it's not gonna be like we're gonna have a toddler fucking running around and eating people. That's like I was pretty sure that's not gonna happen. But like I think she's gonna be the catalyst to it all to either end or go on
Mm,
because she can turn people into monsters just by touching them,
yeah.
basically. So I'm like, I'm
Yeah, it's the sort of like I don't know. We're right on the cusp because we haven't really done very much with her yet, so I can't
not
really
yet, yeah,
decide.
yeah,
But we're right on that cusp of that thing of being like, well, she comes from like this place of being like, well, the monsters are my people, and everybody keeps trying to kill them, and I don't understand why, kind of a thing. So fuck these guys essentially, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay, I can see what you're going for here. I kind of don't want them to keep her down that path though. I'd like for the more interesting thing for me at least anyway is to like have her realize that there's like way more to like everything else going on around her. Like, it's that thing of like, we're not so different, you and I, between like the monsters and the humans, because they're both fueled by emotion. Is like the
yeah,
huge thing,
yeah,
and the thing that nobody seems to be like allowing for within each other, is that like you're fucked up because you've got this big emotion going on. I'm fucked up because I've got this big emotion going on.
yeah, yeah,
Really, we're
yeah,
going through the same thing. It's just that you have a lot less impulse control.
exactly.
Kind of going on, and we're getting to a point where if that continues on throughout season 3, I'm going to start getting really annoyed. Where it's like I'm going to need more nuance from all of these people because at this point it's like otherwise we're just going in circles, you know.
Yeah, I don't think it will,
I
to be
don't think so
honest.
either, but like that we're on that cusp, right?
Yeah. No, I know. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. But I think since I wrote it in my article in my review on it that I really hope that season 3 also equals the last season,
Mm.
and only because I think this is the kind of story that you shouldn't stretch out
No,
till
this is the thing. This has very much the potential to end up being full Walking Dead vibes, where it's just like you
yes,
just keep bringing people in and you kill them, and then you keep bringing more people in and you kill
yeah,
them,
no,
and then you just
no,
stop caring about anybody because everybody dies.
yeah, no, just I really hope that they're not going to do that. Like hopefully, I I don't know because I really love it. I really love it. I don't want them to fuck it up by the end.
You
That's
want
the
an
thing.
ending, is the thing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not even going to say that I need a happy ending because I
No, you
know
need
that
an ending. That's
just an ending.
just an ending. You need something that
Yeah,
like, and I don't think happy endings are indicative of like every time a satisfying ending. Satisfying ending
yeah,
just needs to take all the threads that have occurred already
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
tie them off in a way that makes sense, then pays off the rest of the story.
Hmm.
One of the many reasons that Parasite is honestly basically a perfect movie. Just like I've been thinking about
Mm,
it a lot recently. I'm like that
yeah,
movie slapped so hard.
yeah.
um,
That's an
uh,
amazing movie.
just such a good film. Uh,
Yes,
um, yeah, I don't know. Yes, I want an ending for it too. And the impression I've gotten from looking at the articles that came out about it, because apparently season 2 and 3 were commissioned at the same time. So when they
yes,
renewed it for season 2, they renewed it for season 3 as well. Which
yeah.
to me says they go right. We're giving you this much, and then go from there, sort of a thing.
I really hope because they are, they allow much bigger run times for themselves
Yeah,
than American TV shows, for example.
yeah.
I think that in itself, and the fact that they are, they have a season 3 as well, that's going to be enough to tie it all up by the end and have an end with
Sure.
season 3. That's my hope, really. Like, I just don't want this to get out of hand, basically, where
No,
it's
and I
like
feel like
just
it's primed for like I think it's a decent like season 3 done sort of a thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't see it going any further than that.
No,
Um,
and I don't think it needs to
I
be
don't
honest.
yeah.
Like, I think that what they have established here in the second season, especially, is very interesting,
Mm.
and I really like. We don't need more mystery. That's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to get at.
I think that if you're going into season 3, we like we need answers, right? At this
Yes.
point, we don't need more questions, and you could do
Nope.
like, so fun little bit of media theory knowledge sort of stuff. Questions set up within a narrative in order to get you to start watching more are called enigma codes. You learn this a lot in media studies. At least I did, basically during my first year of my GCSEs. I think it was one of the first things I learned. It is the thing that is meant to get people to continue watching. They are the open-ended questions to be like, who is this person? Why is this thing happening? All this sort of stuff. And you can have short-term, questions, and you have long-term questions. Obviously, in order to keep people watching throughout an entire season, generally speaking, you have to set up and like knock down short-term questions, kind of as you're going.
Yeah.
But at this point, we've had enough long-term questions. What we want are
Yes.
answers, or at least an indication that the answers actively don't matter to the plot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. 100%. I agree. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll
Like,
see.
it's very close, thankfully, which I'm very happy about. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
That's nice.
it's like
Oh,
summer.
I'm sorry, Song. I was doing this completely. Oh, I'm so sorry. The amount of texting that I sent to Lily, where I was like, "Are they gonna let this poor boy have a shower? Because he is so dirty." And you went, "Yeah, he gets a shower." And I'm like, "Oh, they are hosing him down.
Yeah,
That's way more than a shower."
but it's very satisfying. I mean, yes. Look, I'm a human too. Okay.
Actually, on this point, just before we get into what I assume are going to be like our,
Yeah.
some final thoughts.
Yeah.
I sent this to you a little bit, but I don't think I got my point across well enough. That final scene between Hyunsoo and you,
Yes.
where he's like something else, kind of possessed by like what seems like his like internal demon. Very weird stuff going
Basically.
on.
Yeah.
Was like the most sexual tension I've seen in this entire show, and I was like, you've kind of got me in like way more hooked in this like tiny final scene. I was like, this is really interesting.
It is.
I was like, god damn.
Yeah.
Where did this come from, and why hasn't there been more of it?
We'll see. We'll see. It was like, oh,
I was like,
what's happening?
okay.
What's happening?
It's like, this is bad, but also kind of into it.
Yeah. I will also say that I was like, those blue eyes on Song Kang.
Yeah, no, they do look good. It took me a second to figure out what was going on, because I honestly thought he'd been kind of like possessed, like, but from afar.
That's
by
what I thought as
the
well.
kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's not what's going on here. Interesting.
No.
But that
Yeah.
does imply some really interesting questions, in that it seems like they're actually being possessed by demons. Like, that does feel like a thing that might be happening.
Might be. I will say though that I loved how they had these things in place in the very first episodes of season 2. Like, you can see his blue eyes pop up when they are in the shopping mall.
Can you?
It's
I missed that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was for a second like, is that like a mistake with production or something, or
No.
what's
People
going
don't
on?
make
And I was,
mistakes in these things, though.
I know. So I
Not
was
with
like,
something like
okay.
that, especially because he's fucking,
Yeah.
he's
I
got
was like,
dark
okay,
eyes.
very dark eyes, and I was like, okay, so that's. And when they, went back to it by the end, I was like, oh, that was very smart, because it was already there. Like, I think it's like, it came out when he was resting and healing. The other self came out at that point, and I think back at the beginning of season 2, it was more of like, I will come out and protect you because Sangwook is up to no good.
Right.
It felt like that kind of thing until they were like,
Or Sungwook
okay.
possessed by Oh god, this one's probably the hardest one. Yi Muing? Young? Young?
Yes, yes,
That guy.
that guy from season 1. He's an asshole.
That poor guy. Sandwork has been possessed by 2 people at this point, and I'm like, can
Yeah,
we let him out?
yeah, he's the greatest. I love him so much. I loved it. His story arc is my favorite thing in season 1.
The only thing that made me sad about him coming back not as himself in season 2 is that because he's so dirty throughout the entirety of season 1, just like constantly got like a layer of dirt on him like all the time, and I'm like, I just want to take like a flannel to his face. Just like this guy clean him up a little bit, and he gets to be so like, I mean, yes, he gets covered in blood, but like it's a different kind of like dirty, you know.
Yeah.
Where he's sort of like, oh, at least now we get to see his whole face, and like they get rid of that scar. He really like burning people in the show. That's
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the thing.
not about like the actual like burning of it, but like actually leaving people with like scars and like I think all that sort of stuff. But I suppose that's to do with that leads into that whole Korean beauty standard thing again, really, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
That's pretty
Yep.
interesting.
It's very good. I love that. And also, like, I loved how they didn't just drop Ian Yu and Ian Hyun storyline of like, I know my brother is alive, and by the end, he is alive.
Yeah,
And
that's another weird thing that's going on because apparently people hatch.
and I texted you that you can see his cocoon in episode 2 for like a brief second. I thought that they're gonna, because when I first watched through it and that scene came out in episode 2 that they are back to Green Home, and Bori and Yu is like looking for her brother, like she finds the glasses, she finds the
Little shit paper.
paper with who turned and whatever and all the survivors, and then the camera zooms out and there's this very weird shape on the side, and it feels like it's moving and breathing and whatever, and I thought that it's gonna be like a monster or that's Ian Hyun, and that's his introduction as a monster, and I was like so upset. I was really hoping that they're not gonna do that. And then by the end, when we get to the cocoons and all that stuff, I was like, oh,
Yes. That's how, because it's like that at least is interesting to me because they have introduced something and they set it up way earlier in the season. That's way better. Like to me, that like that's better storytelling because like obviously you got the woman. I have her name down here somewhere.
Yeah,
I wrote it down.
You can find it. I trust you.
Mui Suk.
Yes.
Myung. Sorry. This is it's Myung Suk. Go with that. The mother of the baby who died. She pops up. Comes out and is like, oh, but like, I'm like, but that's also kind of set up fucking in season 1 where she's been in that bathroom the entire time.
Yeah, basically, which is like but how did she came out looking the same? That was my own. I was a bit upset that they just left it like that. Like she gets hit by the truck and
she's just gone. It was like, yeah, that's a bit like. I mean, it would have been nice to see more of that.
Are they turning back to humans when they are in the cocoon?
I don't know.
What's going on?
Maybe there's some kind of synthesis happening.
Something's happening because she just dead, I guess. So I'm like,
okay. Is it Jungian? Is it meant to be like shadow self versus?
Yeah, very interesting. I'm very interested to see what's to come. What makes me upset that I have to wait again.
Hey, it's only. I mean, it says summer. In my head, that means June, but that's because I'm a June baby. So in my head, I'm like June equals summer every time, and it's like there are 2 other months in summer.
Hopefully, it's not going to be August because then I'm going to cry.
Yeah, every time if the people say summer and it means they mean August, I'm like, that's
end of summer.
That's late summer. You have to quantify that.
Yeah. All right, final thoughts. What did you think of this season? How would you rate it? Let's go with that as well.
I got more on board with it by the end of it than I thought I would. I think I needed that because as I said to you, I was trying to take it a bit slower and like do a couple episodes a day and all that sort of stuff. I did end up having to watch most of season 2 on one day, but then I had to take a break. Like I really did have to between the episode 7 and then going into 8.
Yeah.
So giving myself that time to like process it a bit meant that I could like appreciate the whole thing a lot more. And now that I've
Mm.
had time to like sit with it for a fair like a week at this point, I'm like, yeah, I'm into this. I can see I'm enjoying it. I really did like that season 2 way better than season 1. I think it's
Mm.
just a more solid season.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, it's good. It's a good show. I can see why you like it.
Yeah. How would you rate it?
Just season 2?
Yeah. Let's roll with season 2 only.
Somewhere between like an 8 and an 8.5.
Okay.
I think.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I really like, my only complaint is that it's a mid-season, and it's very obvious this is a mid-season, which is not saying it's bad, because it's not. I really enjoyed it. Like, I watched the whole thing in one day.
It's
I
really
think that,
hard to judge a mid-season on its own merits.
yes, that's the thing. Like, it stands on its own legs, but because of the things that it set up, I'm like, I need season 3. I need answers now. I have to wait. I'm patient. It's not 3 years after all, so I'm like, okay, that's a little bit better than the 3 year wait, which is, I didn't even realize it was 3 year. Like, it was, because it came out in 2020,
Yeah.
the first season, and I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, fucking 3 years have passed. Unreal.
Completely apropos of nothing, but did you notice that the snow completely disappeared?
Yeah,
I was like,
about
where
that.
the fuck did all the snow go?
I wrote about that in my what happened in season 1 article. Like,
It
where did
snowed,
the
and then
snow come
suddenly it
from?
all vanished.
Yeah,
And
it's just
it's
gone.
not like it melted, it's just dry.
It's just gone. Oh well, they can pay attention to everything, I guess. We're not gonna be
It's
like,
like a big thing to lose, but okay.
it's fine. Yeah, I did not do that. What? Yeah, I did love it. I need season 3 soon. Very soon, please. So many things are coming out next year
Give
that
it a
I am
number.
very excited about.
You didn't give a number.
9.
Okay.
9, easily. I gave it on Cow Soup as well. I'm giving it here as well. 9. I really loved it. 9. Yeah, I love the characters, the new ones as well. Not all of them. I don't really like the
Fuck
two.
Chief G.
Fuck you. And the daughters as well. I'm
Honestly,
not on board with the daughters.
I got more on board with. No, I don't think they're both her kids. I think one of them's. The relationship between the two of them is weird because it seemed like she kind of took in the other one.
Yeah, you might be correct. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
her like
something
actual daughter is. I didn't like her at first, but like now I'm way more on board with her than I was.
Oh yeah.
Like she's a little bit like vain, but like she's also that's her mother.
Yeah. I know. What I wrote in my article is that they felt a bit out of place for me
I could see that.
in the whole situation, and that maybe they were a bit off-putting for me. Like, that's it. But still, I love the whole thing, and I can't wait. Hopefully for a final season, I will put it out there again, and it's going to be hopefully the last season. Not because it's bad, but because it deserves a very good ending.
Oh,
Done.
Also, just shout out to Private Park because I felt like we didn't talk about him, and he's the best.
Yes, he is a walking fucking green flag. Like, that man,
A lovely guy.
Oh, yes. Instantly, I was like, "You're just great."
Do you know, it came to mind because if we look at it as a kind of like a love triangle thing, we don't actually have to, but like that's the
No.
way I'm gonna like frame
Yeah.
it for the sake of this thing. In my head, I'm thinking about it. Park kind of reminds me a little bit of at least the attitude that is presented by, I can't remember his name, but the Korean guy in Past Lives, the one that she
Yes.
knew from childhood,
Yeah.
where he's incredibly respectful and
Yes.
like just like very calm and like he clearly has a lot of adoration for this other person that is in his life. It's just like he felt like that kind of an archetype
Oh
at
yeah,
least of a character
yeah.
for me.
I can see that. Yeah.
This is not to say that means that Hyunsu is the American husband in any way, shape, or form, because I don't think
no.
I don't think that translates at all. But there is almost a sense of like, yeah, it's something that's like quite stable compared to something that's very volatile, which could make for some very interesting. If you wanted to play with that, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. This is like one of the few cases where I don't really miss romance from it.
No, I could. That's fair, but there is it's not like any romance, but like the tension that comes out of like
I know
that. I
what
was
you mean.
like,
Yeah.
that's just delicious because it feels
Yeah.
like it's like, oh my god, these people actually do have like
Yeah, I know. I know.
carnal
what you mean.
desires. You
Yeah,
know?
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. We'll see. We'll see
We'll see.
next summer. All right. Next week we're back with a live stream of the Doctor
Get the
Who.
Doctor. I am so fucking excited for you to see that second episode. It is weird as hell.
I like weird, so it's fine.
Just
I can roll with weird.
I literally have been bouncing off the walls thinking about it all week, so I'm just very excited to talk about it.
We will. Next week on Thursday, same time.
I did it again. I'm so
probably
sorry.
earlier. Probably earlier. And then we're gonna have an extra episode next week, so keep an eye out for that announcement. It's a very exciting one.
And if the editing gets really bad from this point forward, it's because I'm starting to try and do it, and it may not go well. If I break my computer, you understand why.
Don't believe her. I'm sure it's gonna be fine.
It might be fine. I might not be.
I'll take care of that. Don't worry. It's okay. All right. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna
figure out where all the buttons
upload...
are to finish this thing now.
Yes, I'm gonna upload this as a podcast. So if you're more on the listening end of things, then you can do it probably tomorrow on Spotify. Yeah, but thank you. Don't forget to watch movies and watch Korean movies and TV shows. They are good.
I'm going to push a button now. It will say stream starting. It means stream ending. I just don't have a stream ending button. But just so you know, the stream is now ending. So ignore what it actually says.
Gotcha.
Watch movies, everybody.
Watch movies.
Bye.